Hello students, welcome to our Math Online classes. So we're going to continue our classes talking about divisions with decimals. Well, as you know, divisions could be done when you have the dividend like this with the decimal part, but it doesn't really matter. But the problem could be when the divisor is a decimal number. You cannot divide a decimal number, you cannot divide a number by a decimal divisor. It's very important to change it into a whole number. We can use the property of the powers of 10. If my decimal point is located here, I have to move one place. That means that I have to multiply by 10. If I would have another decimal number, I should use another power of 10, that would be 100 and so on. But in this case, we only have to move one place, but we also have to move the same place in the dividend. That's why we multiply both sides by the same number, as you can see it in the red. Once we did it, we changed the number to 63, which is a whole number, and 684 becomes 6,847.8 tenths. So our number has changed both in the divisor and also the dividend. So we proceed, we continue to do the division as we know. We can see here the development of the division that everybody knows how to do, and the answer is, and the quotient is 108.6 tenths. Okay. And we have the remainder. Well, we have to know if it's correct. We have to make a proof. The proof of a division could be with outcasting the nines. But that method is not very accurate. Este método de exclusión del 9 es un poco complicado porque no siempre es exacto. It's better, es mucho mejor, do the multiplication proof. That means, as you remember, como saben ustedes, el inverso de la división es la multiplicación. El inverso de la multiplicación es la división. So, the inverse of division is multiplication. And that's why we have to multiply the divisor times the quotient. And this is the answer. Now you can see we solved the multiplication, and this is the answer we have. Of course, we have to add the remainder, and then we can see that our division was correct because the dividend and the product are the same. That's given us the right answer. So now you know. Division with decimals depend on how many decimals you have. If you have 2 decimals, you have to multiply by 100. If you have 3 decimals, you must multiply by 1,000. These explanations are much clearer in your book, in the pages that you have to check in this topic. But now we have to continue to know how can we change decimals to fractions, which is very simple. This is a fraction, 2/5. It has to be changed to a decimal form. How do we do it? We divide 2 by 5. You know the division. 2, of course, is not going to be a whole number, it's going to be a decimal number. So I cannot divide 2 by 5, or 5 by 2 by 5. So I have to put a decimal point and add a 0 here. So 20 divided by 5 makes 4. And this is 0 remainder. So my fraction 2/5 is equivalent to 0.4 tenths. Well, it works for any fractions. This is a proper fractions. But for 30 in this case is an improper fraction. What means an improper fraction is that the divisor is going to be smaller than the dividend. And if we do this division, we can see that the answer is 1.33. So this fraction has the equivalence of 1.33. And if you see the division, we're going to have always a remainder of 1 and 1 and 1. So that means that this number is going to be repeated. That's what we call a repeated decimals. And when it happens, we have to put this little bar that's telling you that this number is going to be repeated endlessly. In some others, they put a point there, which means the same. Another case is that we have to define the decimal fraction, the decimal equivalence of this mixed number. The first thing we have to do is change this mixed number in a proper and improper fractions. And you know how to do it. 2 times 6 is 12, plus 1 is 13. So my fraction is 13/6, which has been divided here. And the answer is 2.16. And this 16 is also going to be repeated endlessly. So the equivalence of 13/6, which is this number, is going to be 2.166666. It's going to be a repeating decimals. Of course, all of this, can we do it by hand? And we also can do it in a calculator, much easier. But if you don't know the reasons or the fundamentals of these operations, you know, calculator can also lead you a wrong answers. So as you know, if garbage gets in, garbage comes out. Quiere decir que si no entiendes bien el principio básico de la operación, aunque tengas una calculadora, te puede salir mal. Okay, that's all for today. Enjoy yourselves, take care of you, and be safe. God bless you. See you next class.